Halloween is the one time of year that brings together all the children of Japan to celebrate their friendly neighborhood Yakuza, who throw yearly Halloween parties complete with costumes, decorations, and lavish bags of candy. Unfortunately, however, things took a violent turn, and as of this year, the Kobe police have put a permanent end to this spooky tradition. Every Yakuza in Kobe liked Halloween a lot, but the police who lived in their Kobans did not. The cops hated Halloween, the whole spooky season. Now please don't ask Nani, no one quite knows the reason. Recently I've been seeing a ton of headlines that seem like clickbait nonsense, until I remember that this is Japan we're talking about, so it's just another Tuesday to them. But I found this to be absolutely fascinating. So today, I want to share the story of how Japan's largest Yakuza gang, the Yamaguchi-gumi, have been banned from handing out candy to little kids. It all started back in 2010, when some foreign exchange students living in Kobe went out trick-or-treating and unknowingly knocked on the door of the Yamaguchi-gumi headquarters, a Yakuza organization home to 50% of the gang members in all of Japan, which at its peak was worth an estimated $6.6 billion. A confused middle-aged gangster answered the door and was met with the ultimatum, trick or treat. Caught off guard, he chased away the exchange students with a couple 1,000 yen bills, thus starting the tradition. Fast forward a couple Halloweens, and the parking lot is now decorated to the nines, with blow-up ghosts, cotton candy machines, and decorative lights, drawing in, and this is not an exaggeration, around 1,000 children throughout the night, who were all greeted by a Yakuza member dressed as a giant jack-o'-lantern. If this sounds a little bit unsafe to you, don't you worry. One mother was quoted as saying, "Security was top-notch, and the gangsters were super nice." Never changed Japan. But what's in it for the kids?
Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we would always go out of our way to trick-or-treat in wealthier neighborhoods like this one, in the hopes of snagging a full-size candy bar.
The same principle applies here. Thanks to the Yamaguchi-gumi's virtually infinite funds, each child received a massive goodie bag containing all sorts of candy and pastries worth almost $8 each. And I was just happy to get a little box of chiclets. The best part is that the violent Yakuza chose to buy Glitter Force anime-themed goodie bags. So right about now, you might be wondering why a gang worth $6.6 billion is spending their time and money handing out candy to little kids. Two very exciting words: public relations. What makes the Yakuza different from, I guess, any other gang in the world, is their dedication to their code of honor that they call ninkyo, which values justice above all else. So members are forbidden from engaging in blue-collar crime, and instead make their living through several industries, some legal, like construction or real estate, and some not so legal, like gambling. But have you tried pachinko machines? They're a lot of fun. So in order to operate such a vast and structured organization, they can't be constantly worried about police and residents chasing them out of town, which is why they're known for, and I quote, throwing a pretty killer mochi making festival. And although these PR stunts could, and probably rightfully so, be interpreted cynically, they have done some good in the past. Like in 2011, during the Great East Japan earthquake, the Yakuza were among the first to provide the victims with supplies, spending an estimated $500,000. Because of acts like this, the gang has managed to blend into the Kobe community, so much so that they're actually welcomed into local onsens despite their generally forbidden tattoos. I read several quotes that refer to them as neighbors who keep the city safe and clean. Kinda like Batman. Naturally, this created a lot of tension with the local police, who up until this point had pretty much been turning a blind eye to the Halloween events. That is until things got violent. In fall of 2015, the city of Kobe was buzzing with excitement, as the yearly gathering was a mere days away. But that's when disaster struck. A tweet was sent out containing a photo of the headquarters, with a sign stating, "Due to a number of various circumstances, we will be canceling this year's event. We understand that we are making the children who are looking forward to this very sad, but next year we will absolutely hold the event, so please look forward to it. Thank you." And rather than the appropriate responses like, "What the f***, since when does the Yakuza hold Halloween parties?" everyone seemed more concerned with the formatting of the sign. Why did they use such a formal font for the sign? It's so professional. It was a shocking sticker. It's not a sticker, it's amazing that it was made properly. How is Japan a real place? For the first time in years, the event was cancelled, leaving everyone wondering why. Well, I did some digging, and it turns out 2015 was the year that the Yamaguchi-gumi split into two competing factions, so it's theorized the event was called off as a safety precaution for the potential upcoming turf war. But I came across another theory that I like much better. One Yakuza member was nominated the Halloween team leader, who was in charge of planning the event. But unfortunately, the HTL was among those who split off into the rival Ninkyos, so the Kobe Yamaguchi-gumi were left unprepared, and struggled to procure the necessary supplies, like the also important Glitter Force goodie bags. And I'm actually not kidding. Companies aren't supposed to do business with anyone Yakuza affiliated, so even simple trips to can be a hassle. And thus the event was cancelled, and the kids of Kobe, were left with tears in their eyes. One such kid named Hina is quoted as saying, "I want to have Halloween at the Yamaguchi house again. I want to go there in fancy dress, and when I say trick or treat, they reply Happy Halloween." Like, I know this situation's probably pretty serious if you live there, but as an outsider, I find it completely hilarious. 2016 goes off without a Hitchy Man, but the spooks and goofs can only last so long because in fall of 2017, an assassination attempt was made on the Halloween team leader, on the leader of the Splinter group, but his bodyguard took the bullet in his place, in what I imagine to be a heroic slow-motion dive. Naturally, this escalation raised tensions to an all-time high. An anti-Yakuza parade was held with around 100 civilians and cops marching together with signs reading, "Gangsters shouldn't take part in Halloween." I swear to God I'm not making this up. When the protest didn't work, the police began going school to school, warning the students not to attend this year's Halloween event for their own safety. But some of the kids at these schools were the children of the Yakuza. So in a show of solidarity, their friends chose to stand by them and ride their bikes to the event all the same. But in one of history's most tragic days, another sign was placed outside the headquarters, canceling the 2017 Halloween event. Nobody knew if this was due to police pressure or just the gang being totally reasonable and not wanting kids to get caught up in the crossfire. But either way, it was a sad day in Kobe. And what happens then? Well, in Kobe, they say that the Yakuza's candy hearts grew 3 sizes that day. On October 31st, 2017, at 4 p.m., the Yamaguchi-gumi flung open their garage doors and proceeded to host one of the most legendary surprise Halloween parties that Kobe had ever seen, truly putting the trick in trick or treat. But the Kobe cops had been embarrassed one too many times. They returned to their Kobans and started plotting their revenge. They knew what they had to do, but in order to win the favor of the public, something big had to happen, so they sat and wait. A year goes by without incident, and another Halloween party comes to pass. The police were about to give up hope, but on October 10th, 2019, a mere weeks before the next party, 2 members of the Splinter group were shot and killed by the Yamaguchi-gumi on the streets of Kobe. Seeing their chance, the very next day an order was issued by the police restricting the use of both organizations' headquarters, canceling the event for the first time in 4 years. The Kobe cops had won the battle, but not yet the war. They immediately went to work plotting ways to take out the Halloween team leader for good. And today marks the first ever Yakuza Halloween to be permanently banned under the Kobe cops' new orders. It is now illegal for any crime organization to hand out money or gifts, Glitter Force or otherwise, to the town's children. And the punishment for breaking these rules includes up to 6 months in prison and a fine of up to 500,000 yen. Let me know in the comments whose side you're on, whether it be the Halloween-loving Yamaguchi-gumi or the safety-toting Kobe cops. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on next year's Kinda Spooky videos. Happy Halloween!